Well, welcome to another edition of the Critic's Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague, movie lover, and lover of all things that are pizza, Mr. David Dunn with Southlake Style Magazine. How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing all right, Andy. I only accept pizza that has no cheese on it. I know, it's weird. It's my thing.
Yeah, we'll forgive you, so it's okay. Italians are crying everywhere because you just said that.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
their right to cry, but their tears bring me joy.
You sadist. Oh man. Anyways, on a serious note here, we're talking about a great movie that's out right now on Netflix. The Trial of the Chicago 7. David, what are your thoughts on this film here?
Yes, sir. Trial of the Chicago 7. It is a historical drama written and actually directed by Aaron Sorkin. For those of you that remember the name, he's the Academy Award-winning screenwriter behind amazing movies like The Social Network, A Few Good Men, Steve Jobs. And this tells the true story of the Chicago 7, a group of anti-Vietnam War protesters that is being sued by the federal government with conspiracy and crossing state lines to incite riots at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. And this, man, Andy, this was a very slow building, steady, gradual, but very, very powerful true story. The movie assembles its characters kind of like defendants, which makes sense because of the movie's legal kind of a premise. Lines up your characters, you understand all of them, and it plows ahead with its subject matter. And it is very well crafted. It is very dramatic. It's very impactful. It's very powerful. It really hits you hard on the issues it's talking about. Issues, many of which are very true to today's world.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, watching this movie, there's definitely a lot of parallels between what happened in 1968 to some of the feelings and attitudes that are on display currently with the presidential election that we just had, and what's been going on here throughout the pandemic, and that sort of thing. It's just, it was a time in history I knew about. I knew that there were demonstrations at the 68 convention and there were arrests, but I didn't know too much more past that. And watching this has made me want to learn a little bit more about that, and even look it up, read some more books about the subject. And it was a smartly done movie. One of the actors in it that plays one of the activists in it, Sasha Cohen, I was honestly, he plays, I believe, Abby Hoffman in the movie. And I was surprised how good of an actor he actually is when he is given a decent role to play that has some meat, has some substance to it. Because Sasha Baron Cohen from Borat subsequent movie film, Bruno, which was, God, that was horrible, and the Dictator. I mean, just these mockumentary political comedy type things, the Ali G show that he was on HBO and the BBC. I mean, I've never really been a huge fan of him because I think his humor is very crass, and just it's just, his style of humor is just something I would equate to junior high fart jokes. I mean, it's okay, it's funny once, but in this, I have to give him kudos. I mean, he was really good in this role. job well done. And I would also say Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean, I liked his performance in this film. I mean, I remember watching him as on Third Rock from the Sun, playing Tommy Solomon. I mean, seeing him from early on in that to where he's at today. I mean, he's an A-list actor who brings it every time to every performance he's in. And this is the case that's true in this.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. And I will definitely concur with your opinion on Sacha Baron Cohen. Not only was he my favorite performance in this movie, I think this is my favorite performance from him, period. He plays this, kind of rebellious, yippy kind of a character. People kind of characterize him in this movie as this weed-smoking attention hog. That just likes to get with women and just lay back and chill and all this, but he really does have a lot more nuance as a character. He cares very much about the cause he's on there for. He understands what kind of a trial this is in. He understands the kind of revolutionary moment they're in, and he brings a lot to this movie, whether it's in-cheek humor, sarcasm, or really serious, more dramatic moments. Sacha Baron Cohen does an amazing job in this movie. I almost kind of want to say he's kind of the crux of this movie. He whether the movie is in its more emotional or its more comedic moments, he's kind of at the center of it, and he does a great job with the role he's given. And as you mentioned, not just him, but I think everybody in this movie gives A1 performances. I personally feel like this is a shoo-in for the Best Ensemble Award at the SAG Awards easily.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, besides Sacha Baron Cohen, you have Eddie Redmayne, you have Jeremy Strong, you have Mark Rylance, Joseph Gordon-Levitt you mentioned, Frank Langella, Michael Keaton. You have so many characters in this movie that as they kept rolling in one after the other, I was like, oh snap, he's in that movie. Oh my gosh, he's in that. Oh my God, he's in this movie. Like, they just keep coming in and they bring so many amazing dynamics.
Well, and one person you left out that he was really, really good, but you really hated his character was Frank Langella, who played Judge Julius Hoffman in the movie. And, he's a legend in Hollywood, and he does a legendary performance in this. And you really come to really loathe his character, but he does a good job in making this guy just... you really dislike this guy in the movie.
He makes your skin crawl, and he makes your head turn red. Like, you love to hate this character. This character is like the full-grown version of that bratty blonde-haired prince in Game of Thrones. Like, he's just that hateful, and he's so spiteful. And you look at him, you're like, how did you get a judgeship? How? And it boggles your mind, the things he does in this movie, but they're all of public record. They're all things that happened.
You can go read a transcript from the court reporter what happened. What's interesting, I was talking to my brother who's an attorney, and he said, I watched this movie, and he said, I can definitely relate to it because I've been in some trials where you have a judge who clearly doesn't know the law, but you can't say anything against him. You have to fight it on an appeal because it's an unconstitutional ruling that he made or a decision. You have to appeal it. And he said, I've experienced that in the courtroom, and I'm like, wow, that still happens today.
Yeah. Another powerful moment or powerful performance in this movie, Andy, and I hope I don't mispronounce his name. If I do, I apologize. But Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He's actually been in quite a few movies before this one. In Aquaman, he played Black Manta. In the HBO series Watchmen, he played Dr. Manhattan. But in this movie, he plays
Bobby Seale.
The Black Panther. And he, not the Marvel Black Panther, the real life, one of the real life
political activist group.
Yeah. And he was amazing in this movie. Like his character was already in a very unfortunate situation, which I won't spoil here, but he's caught up in a very unfortunate situation. He's not being granted the liberties he's owned as an American citizen. And what I really love about this movie is, regardless of however you feel about the Black Panther Party, whether you are pro their activism or anti their activism, the movie does a great job humanizing this character, putting into perspective the struggle that he faced as a Black American, and kind of showing that, yeah, while these mostly white protesters are dealing with their own issues, there are several other issues going on in this country that aren't even touching them.
Well,
And
and the stuff I read about where the judge, the way the judge treated him, I'm not going to say what because it will spoil a lot of the movie.
right,
That's true. What the
yeah,
judge did to him in court and the rulings he made against him, that's true. I went and looked it up, and I was thinking, okay, this is Hollywood being dramatic here. No, that actually happened, and I'm like, my gosh.
it actually happened, and we won't, like I said, no spoilers. But this movie, what the judge does to Bobby Seale in this movie, it's portrayed in like it took place in a few moments, like a few brief, like one brief period. In real life, this was going on several days, like more than a week, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. You're looking at it, you're just like, I can't believe this is accurate. I can't believe that they actually had to censor what they actually did in real life because it was too disturbing. But no, very powerful, very moving, very dramatic. Funny thing I read about this movie, Andy, Aaron Sorkin actually originally wrote this in the 2000s, originally with Steven Spielberg attached to
I
direct.
did read that as
And,
well.
and when you're watching the movie, I didn't know that before I watched this movie, but even when you're watching it, you do feel a little bit of a Spielberg touch in this, even though he's not involved with the production. But you feel a sense of hopefulness. You feel a sense of optimism. You feel a sense of positivity and upliftedness coming from this very serious and very dramatic true story. And just knowing the writer that Aaron Sorkin is, just the kind of characters he likes to write about, the kind of moral complexities he puts his characters through. To find him go for that sort of tone with this movie, not just as a writer, but as a first-time director, you love to see that. You love to see these creative storytellers pursue different stories they haven't really tackled before.
One thing about Aaron Sorkinson is, you can see his talent through this movie. I mean, like you said, he's been involved in a lot of really notable projects, both on the large screen, big screens, and actually on Broadway. And a lot of people don't know this, is that A Few Good Men actually was a Broadway play before it was adapted into a major motion picture in 1992. And he actually wrote he wrote the script for the play for this movie, or for A Few Good Men. And he wrote for The West Wing. He wrote for a Sports Night, I believe, The Newsroom. I mean, he's done a lot in his career, and his talent as a writer, just shines through the cast that really brought this story to life. And I think without that solid base there, it wouldn't have been as good as it came out to be. And that's just really a reflection on his writing, and he actually directed this film as well.
Yeah, and that was something I really liked seeing this movie. I've always loved Aaron Sorkin as a writer. I actually interviewed him in 2016 or 2015 regarding Steve Jobs. But not a lot. There's been great writers before Andy that have made the leap from screenwriting to directing, and it has not ended up being that well. Stuart Beatty wrote Pirates of the Caribbean and Collateral. Amazing movies. He went to direct I, Frankenstein. It was god-awful. Alex Kurtzman wrote the first Transformers movies and Star Trek. went into directing the Mummy remake. It was terrible.
Yeah.
This movie, Aaron Sorkin really lets his strengths shine on the page and on the screen in a very good way. And I think it's because he pays very close attention to his characters. He knows what he wants to see out of them. He knows what he wants them to express. And he builds it up in a very emotionally satisfying way that's filled with a lot of gravitas and a lot of meaning. This movie not only makes me excited to see Aaron Sorkin make the break into the director's chair, it makes me excited to see where he can go from here. What other stories can he direct? What other types of tales can he put on the big screen that many other filmmakers may not be able to? I'm really excited. The Trial of Chicago 7 makes me excited at the possibilities that are out there for the future of Aaron Sorkin's career.
Well, the only thing I was sad about his career is he wrote a show called came out in 2006 called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and it was actually really a phenomenal show when it was out, but it was basically canceled because of the writer's strike that happened that year. And get the chance to look at it, online or whatever. It's actually worth a good. It's good to watch. It's a good show. I just really didn't get a chance because of circumstance. And I would say Charlie Wilson's War is another one of his that's really kind of underrated. That's actually really good.
Yeah, man. He's touched so many stories. And one thing he told me whenever I spoke to him years ago is not all of these movies may be factually true, but they are emotionally true. And I would definitely say that about The Social Network. I would definitely say that about Moneyball. I would definitely say that about Steve Jobs. I would definitely say that about Trial of Chicago 7. And even though there are some discrepancies between this and the real life story, I think I would go so far as to say this Trial of Chicago 7 is Aaron Sorkin's most factually accurate movie to date. There wasn't really a lot of deviations from the real life story, and I love when filmmakers can do that as well.
Yeah. And you've got to take that into account whenever you see a movie based on real events. If it's not a documentary done by a well-known documentalist, they're going to take liberties with history a little bit, and sometimes they're going to cut things out for continuity, or you've got to take that into account. And I think with this, well, there probably is some inaccuracies to it. I think it's true to the spirit of what happened, I guess would be safe to say. I mean, it's not if you don't see Ken Burns' name on it. He was known for documentaries like the Civil War, the Vietnam War, baseball, which was phenomenal. Watch that; it's great. If you love baseball or sports or anything, the documentary is really good. But I digress. But if it's you've just got to take that into account.
Yeah, some events in this movie are twisted and bent slightly, but they're never outright broken. Not in the same way that movies like The Social Network or Steve Jobs is. And I'm not discounting those movies. I love both those movies. I'm saying that if you're looking at events as how they played out, this movie is the most accurate factually I've seen from Aaron Sorkin. And it's not just the fact that the movie is emotionally gratifying, very suspenseful, very engaging, and very absorbing, but the fact that it comes from such a very real place of American history, that makes it all the more powerful to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so in conclusion here, what do you give this movie here?
Solid 10. I know 2020 has been filled with so many lows, with so many movies being canceled, postponed, going directly to streaming or whatever. But out of the movies I've seen this year, Andy, out of the ones that haven't been canceled or postponed to 2021, I would say Trial of Chicago 7 is my favorite film of 2020. We still have a few months left, so we'll see if that changes. But as of this current moment, it's my favorite film I've seen this year so far.
I would say for me, it would be 8.5 or 9. I thought it was a very solid film.
Yeah.
I overall, I thought it was good. It definitely, I think the only reason why I give it that low of a number, not a perfect score, is I think there could have been a little bit more editing in some areas that could have made it a little bit tighter. But the acting was great. The writing was terrific. It's probably one of the better ones to come out this year, and I'm just sad that not everybody is going to get the opportunity to see this because of its being released onto a streaming platform like Netflix, and that does make me sad to a degree.
It does to me too, but actually an even sadder thought, now that you mentioned that, Andy. While I was watching the movie, I loved it, obviously, but when I was watching it on my flat screen TV, I was thinking throughout, man, how much more amazing would this have been if I had seen this in a theatrical setting? Like, how much more powerful would that have been? Like, it could, yeah, no. So hopefully there's a reopen soon. Hopefully the pandemic passes soon, and hopefully we'll one day see a re-release of this movie into theaters, because I would definitely pay money to go and see this on the big screen.
Oh, definitely. I miss, because going to the movies, and I hope with the pandemic that theaters don't go away. I hope they stay around, because being able to experience in a group of people like that is a unique experience, and hearing the reaction from other people that you're with is priceless. It's part of that movie going experience that makes it very special, and I hope that comes through and survives, and we'll have that in the future for future generations to enjoy.
Yes, sir. We need the movies, man.
Definitely. Well, that is going to wrap up today's edition of the Critics Corner. So questions, comments, concerns, movie suggestions, give us a email, let us know, and we'll be glad to put that out there for you. So that's going to wrap it up. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. I'll see you next week.